Everybody's
Excuse
sick.
me. Welcome, everybody, to Sunday Functioning Chat on Kettle Kitchen. Welcome to you guys. Michelle, I think it's just Michelle today from Big Valley Living, and Daniel from Two Doctors Homestead. I think it's just Daniel today. And others are supposed to be here. Whether they show up or not, we'll find out. I know Ginger's trying, but she's having a technical struggle, so we'll pull her in here when she does show up. Just and this isn't going to mean anything to anybody else other than the three panelists right now. To follow up what we were just talking about, what I was trying to make the point of, I totally get where you're going with it now, and it makes
absolutely
sense.
Yeah.
The only struggle I have, and me and Ginger talked about this, so just real quick so everybody understands, we're talking about calorie counting your food pantry items. The only issue me and Ginger said would seem to be of issue. Oh, and there's Ginger with us.
Hi, Ginger.
Yeah, I've had some internet struggles, and I had a premiere, and I was talking with some people in the premiere, and
Well, it's just the four of us from the looks of it right now. So it's just the four of us, it looks like. So
okay.
Anyway, so me and Ginger were talking about the only problem with the calorie counting part of it is that it makes it hard when you look at home canned items. That's where, for us, it seems to be a struggle because those are things that we obviously want to include, but where do you go to get them? So I want to work on that because I know there's somewhere, and Ginger said the same thing. She knows she's seen it, but it's like, where is it at? So I got to find a clearinghouse kind of place before I want to jump on that, because some of my pantry items, and I know Ginger's and some others, are home canned items that we're using. So
under the counter.
Oh, Ginger, look what Patty just found.
What?
Ooh, is that your ring?
Goodness.
That's my wedding ring that's been gone for like almost a week. I have
no. Oh no.
Where'd
You're legit.
Thank you. Yes.
Where did she find it?
Under a counter. Under a counter.
You were digging out some canning lids and
probably exactly where it was. Anyway, so to go in to move on real quick and get into topic of discussion, because this is our shorter conversation we typically have. I personally do want to do the calorie thing based on the report you put out, because I get your point and your reasoning and your direction behind it. It's just going to take me a while to figure out the other parts of it. So that's why in the description, people will say, excuse me, when we do get to the pantry discussion, how many cans do you have? How many meals do you have? Or if you're doing it, how many calories? That's why it looks like that.
Absolutely. Yep. Understood.
Each of us are kind of doing it a different way. So, but we do need to have that discussion. So, hello to you guys. Thank you for coming in.
Sir. Happy Sunday.
Yes. I see we have Suburban Hillbilly, Rhonda Towery, Two Doctors Homestead, and Big Valley Living's with us. So that's cool. So basically, here we are. We had a discussion Friday night, late Friday night, and that's where this whole pantry challenge thought process really originated. I think it was on the Friday night, which then led into the Sunday Functioning Chat, which then led into it's all we talk about now. But in the discussion, and I'm not blaming Blue, but Blue made a very valid point by the end of the conversation, and you guys hung around for some of the after conversation. In the end of it, when it got down to it, the issue she was having is that there's no solutions. We all can keep pushing forward, and we all can do that, but I feel like I can't do anything. So in with that, and I'm being very honest and transparent about this, the conversation we had Friday night is typically one of my busier nights for analytics. I have more viewers, I have more comments that come through my chats, things like that. Friday night was a dead night. Now, coincidental, there wasn't a lot of people like there normally is, and I'm starting to get worried that people are getting bored with the conversation, I guess would be the easiest way to put it. taking those two things, putting them together afterwards, I'm going to call it an epiphany. Right or wrong, we will never know until we get there.
Mhm.
Maybe people are getting tired of the drawn out gloom and doom about what we're dealing with. So
Yeah.
I was like, sufficing 2 and 3 things at one time, let's change it up a little. Let's start offering people solutions instead of giving them always the criticism of what the problem is. Okay. So that being said, Friday nights were changed, and she dropped us like a hot potato.
Tony, I do, before you go on, I do want you to see Suburban Hillbillies comment as well. And
No, and she does have a valid point. That is, it is a
Right.
late show.
yeah,
It is a late time. But even with that in mind, okay, so let me give you an idea. Usually before we're even done, we have 80 views on late night with Kettle Kitchen. We only had 48 views. Okay.
oh my goodness.
Comments are usually in the 400 and 500s. We only had 145. Half of those comments were coming from people on the channel.
Yeah, yeah.
So the conversation was not generating the conversation like it normally does. Now, again, could be highly coincidental. It could be just the day it was. It could be a lot of things. But it still wore on me long enough to say, let's offer solutions. Let's move forward with, we all know where we're at. We all know what's here. We all know what's hitting us. Let's move with what we can offer to try to help. Because one of the key things that was discussed was this year people wanted to do more scratch made stuff. Well, let's give them scratch made. Let's show them how they can do things at home with the things they will have in their cupboards, pantry, whatever it is. So that being said, this Friday night, the next Friday Night Live, we're going to talk about I don't want to be stuck in a category, but at the same time, it kind of is. I'm looking at mixes, whether it's like a ranch dressing mix, whether it's Italian dressing itself, or Italian mix, or gravy, or au jus, or something like that. Something you guys make at home that can help somebody stretch. What are you laughing at, Missy?
Giggles.
Joey in the chat, he said, "There goes another phone."
Good thing they're not $1,000 each.
Yes. Hello, Joey. I miss you, my friend. I'm glad you're in with us. I like seeing you there. So thank you. I do see Tasha from Arts and Adventure with Tasha is in with us. Thank you for coming in. So going back to what I'm saying is that this coming Friday, we're just going to do what I'm calling DIY mixes. That's the easiest way to put it. Okay. That doesn't mean everybody's has to be a salad dressing. It doesn't have to be a spice. It doesn't have to be. It's allowing you guys to come from your perspective and have different options to present to people. Okay. That's week 1. So that's going to be next week. The week after, we're going to go into pancake
And how many
mix.
do you want from us week 1? Just one?
Just one.
Just one.
I'm not trying to make it hard on you guys, but I'm trying to give people maybe some information they don't have. A lot of what we're going to throw out there probably is repetitive, or they can go somewhere else and get it. But I feel like if we're putting it out there,
we're coming up
then
with some original stuff.
This is secret recipe time here.
She stopped the boat. Look at that. That's funny.
I think that's a great idea. I like that.
So the next week, then we'll do pancake mixes. We're going to kind of make it in ready-made mixes, not what we're talking about in the first week, which would be like pancake mixes. I'm going to do a brownie mix that all you got to do is add oil and eggs to and vanilla, and it's ready to go. Somebody might have a biscuit mix. They might have something we didn't offer in the first week. That would be the time to bring that stuff out. Then in the third week, I think what we're going to do is we're going to hit Rasta and Pice. Okay.
Rasta.
All right.
Rasta.
Rastafarian.
Let's back up and let me try that one more time. Pasta and rice dishes, whatever those might entail. Okay. So that gives you 3 weeks to think of things to come up with, things that are easy, that can be made out of what you have on hand. Okay. We're not trying to make people go out and have to buy stuff. It's on the process of what they can have. So
Mhm.
Joey says we're making pancakes.
Joey's asking, we're making pancakes?
Oh yeah, it is a question mark at the end.
No, we're not.
Well, and if I could jump in a little bit on
Yes,
that, Tony,
please do.
I mean,
Please do.
you said something which is, hey, you can get this stuff anywhere, which is true, but there's stuff you haven't thought about, right? If you come into the show and you're going to get 2 hours of recipes and spice mixes and stuff we've done that we know works,
Yeah.
that's, that has value, right? I think that's something that
Mhm.
we
Spot
can
on.
provide. And the
Yep.
people know if it's something Michelle has, I could ping Michelle and ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
It's not one of those family cookbooks that's been passed down from generation and every recipe is missing like 2 ingredients. So you're never going to actually get it right. What is
Right.
that?
I don't know, Joey. I think you did just lose another phone.
Right. So I
Actually,
think
no,
there is
I'm on
value
an
in that,
iPad,
right?
so-
Uh-oh.
no.
So much
But
for the
that ties
iPad.
in, and I'm glad you brought that up because that ties into the conversation we did have on Friday, which was the whole point of bringing communities together is to be able to network with other people that can
Mhm.
help us out. Whether it's a phone call, an email, a comment in a video, whatever it is, you have the ability to go out and get additional help
Right.
with a question you might have from people you see 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. That's
Mhm.
so.
And a
Yeah.
lot
I
of those
mean,
are flavor profiles that we use. I know
Right.
I make a lot of Mexican inspired food, and I just throw them together, but I can put them together in what you might call a taco seasoning, that you buy in those Lowry's packets that are what, about
Right.
$79 now for one meal's worth of spice. Woo, we get a month's worth of spice for that if we go to bulk pens.
right.
So I'd love to
Absolutely.
share that information with people. I think it'll be fun.
So does anybody have issue with those 3 things I brought up, or does it conflict with something you guys think we should be addressing?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. So I'm putting it on the calendar so I don't forget what we are going to discuss. And then I will send this out to you guys so you have it, and then you have plenty of time to come up with what you want to do.
Absolutely. And I'd add a twist to that. And normally we talk about this stuff offline, but I mean, if we're saying, hey, this is my pancake recipe, these are ingredients, this is how I make it, maybe make a video on it. And you can tell them, hey, if you want to see how to make it, check out my channel. We do it all the time. It's great. Right.
And a good example of that, in all honesty, and only speaking from experience of what videos I've watched, I know Ginger's talked about her Italian spice. Her and Joey talk about it all the time. I do believe you guys have made a video of making it too, haven't you, Ginger?
Yes.
And then with me, I know the brownie mix is in my repertoire of however many videos I have, probably more back to the beginning, but it's out there. So I think driving people to our channels for that assistance that they may not have right now does 2 things. It does exactly what you said. It gives them a connection and knowledge of something they may not know, but they now have a reference point to that. So
absolutely,
that's a great idea. Yes.
So
Hi, Alvin and Ray.
I
Thank
am
you for
going to do
coming
it
in.
I was looking at chat. Suburban Hillbilly said, yes, you're making pancakes in your best Italian accent. Yes, I will use that great Italian accent.
But
It's horrible. I know it needs a lot of work, but it was the best I could come up with on the fly.
So one thing I do want to mention, Rhonda just mentioned this. Yes, please do email me any information anybody would have regarding calorie cost and count regarding home done stuff, because that's where I'm struggling right now, is to locate that.
Where to
So I
go
would
find that?
appreciate
Yeah.
Right. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about, though. Had I not had her in here in this conversation, I wouldn't have known that she'd be a resource to use for something like that. So it works both ways. It's not just us putting information, it's also us getting information as well. So
yes, and if I can piggyback off of that, or what is it you say, Daniel?
I don't know.
What do you say, Daniel?
I don't know.
Usually he says, yeah.
Hump day.
If I can go get that, something like that. Anyway,
If I could build on that, if I could add to that, sir.
yes, if I
If I
can,
can
Sir,
add
I'd like to contribute to the conversation, sir.
There you go.
Please.
yes.
It's my ginger
I
impression.
did the can it or scan it this past week, and in
Say
that,
that again, Ginger. I was laughing.
huh?
Say that again. I was laughing.
No, when I did the or scan it video this past week, I did the snacks, and I didn't know if they would freeze well. I knew that the cheese and the almonds would freeze just fine because I've done those before.
Right.
But the dried cranberries, I didn't know about those because they're dried and then you're putting them in the freezer. You know, I just didn't know how they would react once they were defrosted. And Jamie's Country Living, I said that in the video, you know, I'm going to try putting 2 in the freezer and see how they do. And she had made a comment and said, dried cranberries do fine in the freezer, and then when you pull them back out. So, I mean, now I know that from her, you know, based on what she said. So, yeah, sharing is caring, people.
Well, you know what? I buy those big bags at Costco, and you know, we go through periods where we use them and we don't use them.
Right.
Yes,
And
I'm tired of
I find them at the back of my cabinet more often than not. It's the same with our nuts. I essentially have a nut shelf in the freezer now. And
I wouldn't advertise that to too
No,
many.
you're not.
Go ahead.
I'm a little nuts. But anyway, I think I'll put
She's
my
collecting them.
cranberries in there. That's a great idea.
It is. And it is what I found also is cranberries, craisins, raisins, whether they're golden or not, currants, all that dried stuff actually has a tendency to do well in the freezer. Has a tendency. Doesn't mean it all does, but all those that I just listed, I know do, because I make a funky fruit cake. I make one that's not typical fruit cake because I don't like the candied fruit and all that.
Nobody actually does, Tony.
Okay.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Right?
Say that again.
It's the same fruitcake. Everybody just keeps passing it around. It's like
I always thought that, but anyways, I do one that has primarily dried fruit and nuts in it, and it's really good, but it freezes well. All those items hold well in the freezer, and when they come back to thaw, they're fine. They don't have a flavor difference or anything like that.
Can you
Good
hear
to
me
know.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't glitch out. You occasionally
Okay,
are glitching, but you're not right now. You're fine right now.
Okay.
So
But Joan Kelly. Hi, Joan. Thank you very much. She said I can hardly hear you. So I'm going to lean in a little closer, but I don't want to knock anything over. Okay.
no, I'm hearing you fine. I don't know about the other two.
Hello.
The fruit,
When it works, it works great.
Yes, I'm with
Yeah.
Daniel. When it works great.
It works great.
Great. Dates. Can you freeze dates?
Dates,
Have you ever
yes.
tried dates?
Oh, that's good to
Because,
know.
you know, I love dates. I love fresh dates from the produce department, but much like Michelle up there, woohoo. I get them, and then, you know, they only last so long. They actually do last a good bit of time, but sometimes I forget about them. And if I could pop them in the freezer, then that would save them and give me a little more longevity, so I'm not throwing them out.
So each Christmas, and I'm don't hold me to whether this is based off expiration or Best Buy stuff. This is what Patty's mom used to do. She's no longer with us, so she doesn't do it anymore, but what she used to do. Every year we do fill cookies for Christmas. At the end of Christmas season, she would go in and buy the dates when they were on sale, so she had them for next Christmas. Those things held just fine in the freezer with no problem. So,
wow, because that's 12 months later. I mean, I'm doing the math.
12 months later,
I do math
exactly.
fast in my head.
Right
What's
now,
2 plus 2?
Fruiting lemons and limes
It's so
from the tree.
Right.
You can only have so much, you know. And now I'm wondering.
so.
Now I'm wondering if I should go ahead and try freezing them just to see how they do.
It can't hurt. Yeah, it's worth a try. So that leads me into my other thing I do want to throw out there. So that puts us into the 17th of February, going off the dates on Friday nights. I think on the 17th, what would be a good one, because we will not have had addressed it up to that point a month long. Let's hit proteins. And I think proteins we need to hit once a month.
Okay.
Now, that's whether proteins are proteins. I don't care whether you're vegetarian and you use proteins, or if you're carnivore and you eat protein. Whatever protein is to you, I think we need to hit that once in a while so that it doesn't become a lost part of the process. So you guys agree with that?
Yeah. And now, do you just want to talk about however it is that we preserve or otherwise store them in our pantry and what we use? I just want to make sure that
come up with an item using what we're talking about.
Okay.
Now that could be all I'm asking is that you've made it and you know it tastes good. That's all I'm asking. Aside from that, I don't care if it's an old recipe or something you just found or whatever it may be. So,
all right. Sounds good.
I want to throw this out there real quick. I seen Jamie's Country Living's in. Mark from Little Ridge Farm is in. Joan Kelly, hello. Alvin Lewis and Suburban and Don Ray I already said hi to.
Tom Garvey.
And Don Ray had a question.
I haven't got there yet. I'm still looking. Mine's floating way fast, so I'm trying to have to go back here. What was that, Ginger?
Don Ray B had a question. Can you freeze garlic cloves? She said a lot of time. Whoa, my chat's moving. She said, I always ruin garlic because I only use a little bit. So can you use some and then freeze the rest? Do they freeze okay?
I've had them before, and what I did is me and Patty pickled, I think 2 years ago, and it was way before I knew anything better. I was stupid, and I went to the grocery store and got them already packaged and all that. In the refrigerator, they don't hold very long, so you need to be aware of that. In the freezer, I think, didn't we do garlic one time in the freezer? Yeah, and it held fine, but it was only a couple months later we used it, so I don't know about long-term freezing.
I'm actually going to take that as a challenge. I'm going to, because I've seen that you can freeze herbs in the freezer in trays. We are absolutely the opposite. If it says 2 cloves of garlic in a recipe, we use a head. So I'm going to go, oh yes, Ginger.
I was not frozen at that point either. I was just
no, we really do. We quadruple whatever it says for garlic because we know it's just nothing. Anyway, I've read that you can preserve herbs, and I've never tried it, in ice cube trays with a little bit of olive oil.
Yep.
So I'm going to assume that you're talking about something that's going to have a little oil in it, and I will try it. And I'll be brutally honest, and I'll report on it next Sunday, actually.
Well, now Tom Garvey, who is the keto king and garlic all things, he uses garlic and everything. He says, yes, you can freeze it. I do it all the time. So, but I don't know if he freezes it in oil or if he just freezes the whole clove. Maybe he can drop that in the comments and let us know.
So Glenda says that she's been growing her own for 5 years and freezes her garlic. Freeze drying is crazy good. So you have 2 different options. If you have a freeze dryer, you can do it. And if you have a freezer, you can do it. The other thing with garlic, do it outside. I'm warning you, and I've not done it yet. I will be doing it. You can also dehydrate garlic. So.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. We're actually getting into a lot more dehydrating right now.
Yeah. That's my I'm getting this pressure canning thing down. So
you have a big one though, don't you? Michelle, don't you have a big dehydrator? I just have one of those little 5-tray small Nesco dehydrators that it doesn't have a temperature, it just has an on-off button. That's your choice. Either it's on or it's off.
That's ours. We don't even have an on-off button. We do have a Nesco, and we did order extra trays. And we have 10 trays, and it does well for us. I don't really think that more trays would do us any good. But I've got so much citrus right now. I know it's a curse and a blessing because you've got to get it processed.
Right.
But anyway, Purposeful Pantry has been my best friend this week because she
She's
is
a good resource for
wow. She's got so many good tips.
Mhm.
So
So,
yeah,
so I want to throw this out there. Glenda said that freeze drying her herbs in trays in oil is good, so she's done it. Tom Garvey says he does not freeze his in oil.
okay.
I seen another one I was going to throw up there. Renee, thank you for coming in. She's been canning chicken. She got breasts for $1.29 a pound. So
Wow, good for
Oh
you.
my goodness.
great.
That's a really good deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
That is awesome.
Hey,
I'm
so
assuming
Glenn
you
must
bought a
have
ton
a
of it.
freeze dryer, which I would love to have. Oh my gosh, that's on my wish list.
Yeah.
Do Road Destiny, thank you for coming in. I'm trying to make sure I
She
get.
said she dehydrated some garlic and my house was stinky. LOL, but it did work.
Yeah.
I've heard with onions and garlic, you want to do them outside. That's what I've heard.
Same thing with stuff like liver.
Oh, really?
We did
Okay.
some liver because we do it for dog treats. You can get the liver sometimes
Don't
really
give that
cheap.
goony goo goo look to him. I love the liver. I don't care.
Yeah, but we'll do it for dog treats, and man, that stinks the entire time. It almost like eye
you were
watering.
supposed to be on my side, not say it was for dog treats.
Oh, you could eat it. I'll send you some if you want.
You eat it.
Here, let me
Well,
send
we
you
buy
some
those at
dog
the
treats,
farmers
Tony.
market.
Yes. Anyways, Joan Kelly said she'd be glad to volunteer and take some of that citrus off your hands, Michelle.
Excellent.
Oh, there you go.
If you were near me, I'd be packing it over.
Yeah.
My neighbors are acting like they do with zucchini in the summer right now. So I'm just gonna dehydrate it and make lime pepper, lemon pepper, dry
Oh, there you go.
spices. And I love lemon, so
Yes.
I don't mind. I'm gonna stick that anywhere I can put it. I mean,
Lemon's great.
water,
Mhm.
in cooking, fish, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just a matter of doing it and sitting. I've decided that that's what I'm going to do every night instead of crocheting or anything.
Thank you, Daniel. Daniel's on the spot with the live chats. I love it.
I try to help keep the audience,
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lori Hyman and Susie Byler came in. Thank you. Susie put a comment up, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was something on the stock that I had done, and I want to assume it was my jiggling gelatinous pot that I did in my.
That was great.
And people were grossed out. They were like, "I hope you didn't eat that. I would never touch that." It was funny. All right, so you guys sound like you're on board with moving this direction with Friday night. So
I like it.
I know Blue and I have already talked. She's on board with it. And then we'll go from there. Okay. And I think by week 3, if you guys can come up with thoughts or ideas of other things we should throw out there, we'll go ahead and just keep adding it to the list. Or if you think about it, just email it to me and I'll add it to the rotation and put a star by it. So I make sure we tell everybody what we're looking at. So,
yeah.
Actually, Susie, I didn't do pork broth. I did turkey broth. So, but it is the broth. Yes.
Before it was reheated.
Yes. Yes. Good point. Michelle, she said she'll pay shipping.
I saw that. Overripe. I told her I'll keep that in mind next year, and because I think we harvested the rest of them right before the storms hit us on New Year's Eve. So they've been sitting around for a hot minute, and it is time.
I'm on with her though, because by the time next year comes around, I will be dehydrating, and I want to dehydrate citrus powders specifically.
Yeah, so, I just think that is a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I will. We'll meet halfway. We'll meet in.
We'll do something. Yes. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I tried to plant citrus trees out here, and they just do not work in my zone. I tried.
Really?
I
would think they would, because you guys stay warm like you do, as long as you do.
We do, but then the winter comes, and unless you want to drag them all inside, they just got wiped out. They won't make it through the winters. Because
what about? I can't talk today. I'm not trying to add an added expense, but just hear my thought process out.
Sure.
If you start or if you can get to a point where they're sturdy enough to let me start over.
Yeah, no, you're all right. Take your time.
If you get them
It's
to
your
a
show,
point,
sir.
that doesn't mean I know what I'm saying all the time, but okay. If you get to here's what I'm trying to say. Couldn't you put like a little storage greenhouse just specifically for your citrus trees and keep them running during the winter? Could you do that?
You could, right. Yeah. If you're going to either move them or, you could try to cover them. Or I have greenhouse in my mind on my goals. I think I put it for 23.
Okay.
And I could throw, depending on how big I go, because I'm going to build it myself, and we're in county, so there really isn't any regulation code.
County's great, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not actually affiliated with a city. I can kind of make it. I can make it 3 stories tall and covered in plastic. I won't do that.
There you go.
But yeah, I would like to incorporate maybe a lemon tree or 2 inside the actual greenhouse.
It'd be great if you could do that, because then you could
what
do
you want to do is get yourself some wine barrels, and they make those casters that will accommodate that sort of weight.
You could, yeah.
You grow those citrus for years before they're too big.
Right.
You want to just make sure you either had it open for your pollinators, or get yourself a little paintbrush and do it yourself.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. I didn't want to have to bring them inside. My mindset was, if they're going to make it, they're going to make it, and they didn't make it.
Yeah.
So I lost like 8 of them.
So Daniel, Joan Kelly's asking what zone you're in, because she's in 7B and wants to try to grow as well.
I'm zone 8. Zone
Okay.
8. Now, it's not always about zone.
It's weather.
We just have a hard freeze in the winter. Yeah. I mean, even this winter, like I had some fall gardening I was doing, and we got hit.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. Go ahead.
Sorry.
We got hit by the whatever it was, the bomb cyclone polar vortex, and like the first 2 or 3 days below 30, my fall garden was great. I'm like, man, it's gonna make it. And then the last day they all died. So it was just too cold. Yeah, it sucked. It was just too cold for too long. So I would look at what your max cold is on the winter, as well as the zone, because I think zone wise they'd be fine.
Go back at the same question. A greenhouse would theoretically help you in that situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, it wouldn't freeze out then. That would absolutely work. Yeah.
And how cold is your low, Daniel?
Oh, we've been like 0.
Whoa.
I mean, in the really bad cold. Yeah, we get colder than Northern California. It doesn't happen all the time, and maybe it doesn't happen every year, but it can get pretty cold. Yeah, it's
now we're down into the 20s sometimes. I think I may have seen it at 19, maybe one time.
Hi, Ashley.
But we put those big Christmas tree lights in our citrus in the at Christmas time, or in the winter, and just flip those on and maybe throw a sheet over them or something if it gets extra.
And you could, I grew orange trees when I was living kind of in Northern California, and they actually did great out there.
Yeah.
But not so much where I'm at.
So my weather song of the year is Ice, Ice Baby.
Exactly. Right.
I bet you can grow wonderful broccoli and cauliflower, though.
I haven't got there, and that's one of the hi Patty.
Hi.
Patty.
And I
looking good.
Yeah, for Joanne. If you're on the coast, Joanne said the ocean keeps me a bit warmer. Most of the coastal stuff is going to be a little bit warmer, generally, than some of the inlanders.
Yeah, theoretically it is.
Theoretically, it doesn't work in Alaska, but in some places it does.
But you got to remember, so, and I know every state's probably this way, but Washington is one of those states. You got the west side, which is rain 11 months and 2 weeks out of the year. Then you have the west side that has definite 4, maybe 6. I think I've consumed 2 additional seasons in there somewhere that are very specific. I mean, so to compare Seattle to where I live, it's not even a comparison.
Totally different.
You're in the you're in high desert, right?
Well, we don't have desert up here, but we're in the hotter
flats.
Yeah. Well, but I live in Washington. So there's not a lot of flats, really.
Either. Right.
Well, there is in the middle. In the middle, that's where all the agricultural happens. And
you come over the mountain, I'm thinking, like, you come over the mountains, you go into Spokane. That's the only part I've been, and I'm not saying that's where you live, but that's the only part I know of. I lived up in the Seattle area for
when years. When you come over Snoqualmie Pass, you hit flats until you get to Spokane. But I'm north of Spokane. and I'm up in the trees and the hills.
Okay.
Ginger
Yeah.
talks about hills, and they're just like rock mountains to me compared to
Oh
mine.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're mountainside.
tell-
Thank you very much. They are a side of the mountain. But
Mhm.
like grow
Yeah, but we don't
zones,
have a defined
like Daniel
desert.
was saying, grow zones are one thing, but this past year, that is not a winter to gauge it by, because we have never seen -11 here.
Right.
Never. I mean, we've been down in the teens, but never -11. So anything I thought maybe had a sliver of a chance of surviving. But I went out there today, and yesterday when I was doing the planting that I did, I went out there and I have volunteer chives. They're coming back from last year. I mean, they will grow in a blizzard.
That's awesome, though.
Yes.
I see Ron's Keto Cafe joined us. Thank you for coming in.
Yes. Hi, Ron.
Okay, so we're already halfway through our hour, so I do want to jump into the next part because it's going to take us a while. Again, on what we previously were talking about, I'll send you guys out an email so you know what those dates are we're playing with. So,
yes.
Okay, so this part is, and as I stated in the beginning, is how much have we gotten in our $5 pantry food challenge? Okay.
Yeah.
All of us are going to come at it from a different angle, I believe. There might be some lap over or whatever, but theoretically we're coming at it from different directions. I'm going to go ahead and do mine first, and then we'll just go around the circle and do it that way. I've ended up with 2 42-ounce cans of shortening, 2 8-ounce cans of cocoa, 2 16 boxes of cornstarch, 2 containers of iodized salt. I didn't want to call them a box or a container because I wasn't sure what it was. 11 pounds of pasta, 1 pound of white rice, 8 cans of diced tomatoes, 28-ounce cans. I've gotten a flat of canned veggies, a flat of beans. Those are all mixed in various types. 2 large cans of soup, 4 4-ounce packages of instant potatoes. And I've canned 11 jars of carrots, 10 jars of herbed potatoes. Those are pints. And then yesterday I finished up with 7 quarts of turkey broth. So that's what I have in my pantry. Ginger, how about you?
Well, I didn't go back and read.
Except you're muted. No, you're not. Sorry.
She's good.
Oh,
she's good.
I didn't
You're good.
Go back
Sorry.
and retally the first few weeks, but I know the first few weeks I had kind of tried to stock up a little more on the spices. I know I had the iodized salt. I had 2 big packs of that. I had 2 16-ounce containers of pink Himalayan salt that I bought. I've gotten a couple of boxes of 100-count tea bags, 1 big coffee. And by the way, I tried the off-brand of the half-calf coffee, which I told you guys I would let you know. Mm-hmm. I was doing the comparison because the Ingles half-calf was half of the price of the Maxwell House half calf. So it tastes the same. It tastes the same, and it's half the cost. So I think that's very good. I've got 4 pounds of baking soda. And a lot of the other stuff I got was fresh stuff to preserve in the freezer. So, but we're getting our pantry, our $5 challenge pantry stocked up. It's doing real good.
Right. Good. And I do want to make that really part of the conversation. For each of us, it's going to work out different. And each of us are collecting different things. But I know for me, I'm almost having to put another shelf up for the pantry items because I've already got a shelf full. So, I mean, it's building fast. So that's all I'm trying to say. Daniel, how about you?
Yes, sir. I was just commenting to Tom on Keto Cook there, saying he smoked sea salt this week. Mine keeps falling through the grill when I try to smoke it. I don't know how that works. I put it in the smoker, it keeps falling through the grill. So I'd love to see a video. I don't know if he lines it up carefully or what he does there, but it just never really works for me on that. I just lose it at the bottom. I lose it at the bottom of the grill, the smoker. It just doesn't really.
Oh, I love it.
Never really works out.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, pantry challenge. I did a list and actually switched to notes. If you're looking for things on the phone, notes on the iPhone now has the option to add little bullet buttons, so you can actually click like as you're going through. It's kind of a bulleted list, which I really like. We're $53 in. And when I did the inventory, I did the count, I did the cost, so we can stay true to the challenge, and then the calories. And I wanted to hit on the calories a little bit. So we have 2 cans of cream of chicken soup, 4 cans of cut green beans, 4 cans of whole kernels, corn, 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, 1 can of Hatch diced tomatoes, can refried beans, 1 Devil's Food Cake, 1 vanilla frosting, 1 buttery potatoes mix, 1 instant corn masa, 1 instant flour tortilla mix, 1 Armory treat, 1 saltine crackers, 3 mac and cheese, 3 rice-a-roni, 2 pasta-roni, 1 Bisquick, 2 boxes of maple and brown sugar oatmeal, and 1 box of Hungry Jack. And when I added up the cost, it was $53. I added up the calories, it was 48,665 calories. And I was going to touch on that a little bit, even though we already talked about it earlier. So 48,000 calories. A normal diet's about 2,000 calories. Right. Anything below 1,200 calories, you're actually in the starvation zone, which you'll lose weight. Great. If you want to, you keep doing it long enough, you'll die. But if we call it 2,000 calories, that's 24 days worth of food for $53. So you're talking, that's $2 a day to eat. Now, I'm not sure all the meals you can make. Maybe that's another challenge. But that's $2 a day. Like if you're on a budget, that's not too bad to live on $2 a day. Right. And I wanted to hit on the calories again, if I could, really quick, because I think it is important. And I know we talked on that, but I've got my show and tell here. We got the cut green beans. This is 3.5 servings per container at 20 calories. So your total here, if I could pull it up real quick here, just take a second. So this is 70 calories. And we're going back to, once again, you kind of need 2,000 calories or at least 1,200 calories to survive. So you would have to eat 28 cans of this a day or 17 cans not to die, right? If you look at Bisquick, this box of Bisquick is 10,200 calories. Yeah, 10,200 calories. So this is equal to, and you might say, wait a minute, 10,000 calories. The box is bigger than the can of beans, and I realize that. I'm not cheating here. This box is equal to 145 cans of beans. Yes. Which I couldn't lift. So, we all look at the beans as probably far more nutritious and healthy than the Bisquick. But if you're trying not to die, you get a lot more meals, right? And I didn't do the math on cost per calorie, but you could, right? Because you got how many calories and how much you spent on each item. You could look at cost per calorie. I guarantee the Bisquick is cheaper. If you're looking at cost per calorie, like that box of Bisquick, I had it at $6.50 for 10,000 calories or 172 cans of beans, green beans. The green beans were 50 cents. So cost per calorie, it's cheaper, right? So, and the Bisquick only even begins to touch on that make it from scratch thing, because it's not really making it from scratch, but it's something to think about if you're looking at, eating without spending a ton of money. As I said, that's $2 a day, and you've got a mix of beans and vegetables and all sorts of things. So it's something to consider.
So
sometimes it's about a full belly is what Suburban.
No, and that's a valid. That actually is part of where I wanted to hit on. 2 things I wanted to hit on. Don't look at what we're talking about in these different lives as they're intended to wholly correlate to each other. And this isn't for you guys, it's more for people watching and listening. The intention is to show you that you can start or rebuild a pantry on $5 a week theoretically. That's what we're trying to prove. The other part of it is the Friday night thing is going to be, how do you make things from scratch? So while they will intertwine, they're not intended to go together, although they can, and at some points will. Okay.
Yeah, you could work something out, I'm sure.
Right. The other
Yeah.
part of it, to go to what Suburban Hillbilly just said about sometimes it's about a full belly and not just nutrition. If we're in a situation where we're having to utilize it for a month at a time, 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time, 2 years, I'm here to tell you, none of us are going to worry about the nutritional value. It's what's filling our stomachs at the time that's going to matter. Okay.
Yeah.
So while we have the benefit of looking at, is it more nutritional or not? Yes, you want to hit that, but also have in mind, having a pantry is what part of building things up is the important part. And that's going to vary dependent on what your situation is, what your ability is, and what you have room to do with. So that's all I wanted to say. Sorry.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying, hey, stock up on all Bisquick, right? That's not the point of it. But if you want a variety.
That's exactly what I thought you were saying.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not saying stock up on all Bisquick, but don't forget stuff like that. Bisquick doesn't have the same shelf life like this. Will last forever, but it's good to have something like that in there, your staples, whether it's a bag of flour, and think about that,
Well, and the other reality I want to throw in there real quick is you made a valid point in just what you said. Everybody's got to remember, for marketing terms, most of our food is not intended to last more than 18 months. That is every one of those manufacturers coming together saying, give it 18 months. That's more than enough time. There's no problem with it, blah, 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 blah. But we all know for a fact some of this stuff will last longer, some won't. So you have to be diligent about what those things are. Don't let a Best Buy date sell you short on getting a good deal. That's all I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. And I wanted to jump in on Joan's comment about you must have the vitamins from the green vegetables. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with.
8 cans of beans, still be hungry. Yeah. No, she could. I meant the vitamins one. The beans are good for vitamins. Now, when you got the fresh vegetables, fresh is number 1, frozen's number 2, canned is number 3. It's kind of disappointing if you look on the back. But if you're looking for vitamin content in your pantry, look for cereals like Cheerios. They fortify that stuff. If you look on the box of Cheerios, there's so many vitamins in Cheerios, which is amazing. And it's got a pretty good shelf life.
Are healthy.
Yes.
My fried Cheerio snack is healthy.
Right. It is. Yeah.
I love this. I can justify it now.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, look at the side of the box. You'll be blown away. I mean, they realized a long time ago, kids are growing up on Cheerios. We should make it healthy. So they dump a ton of vitamins.
You can send a case of that my way.
Right.
Is my homemade Chex Mix healthy? Probably not.
It depends on what you mean by that word.
Yeah, define healthy, and then we'll have the discussion.
Well, if you're going for calories, and if you're active, you're going to burn those calories off.
Right.
And we all have to consider what our activity levels are compared to what our caloric needs are going to be as well.
Come on over to my house and let's walk some mountainsides.
Right. And what Rhonda said, I think, ties back into what you're trying to do, Tony, which is making it from scratch is even better. Right. It's better than Bisquick. If you know how to do it.
If you know how to do it. And that's the part of Friday night.
It sounds like that's coming soon.
Well, that's the ultimate point I'm trying to make, is that we're going to try to get you guys to where you can make your own, save on the cost of the pre-made stuff. Everything that's in it. You made it. You can adjust it. And that's the point behind it. Sorry, Ginger, you look like you keep wanting to say something.
No, yes. You know me. I can't sit still.
No, you're fine.
That Betty Crocker cookbook, the checkerboard one on the front that everybody in the world has.
Yeah.
That cookbook is so old. And it does have the ready-made mixes like the Bisquick mix. Yeah. That recipe's in that book. If anybody
There you go.
That's that book and you haven't looked in it in a long time, go take a look in it. You will really find it is a valuable resource.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yep.
speaking of cookbooks, if I could, because we used to go to antique stores looking for cookbooks, and we got this old cookbook with my favorite recipe in it. It's how to make toast, and you got to slice the bread because the bread wasn't sold sliced, and then it tells you to like cook the bread, like you
Yeah.
slice your bread and then you cook it until it's
Yeah.
like golden brown. It's got the whole process for making toast. I'm
I
like,
love
that's my
that.
cookbook.
I
I can
love
totally make
That when
toast
you go
all day
camping.
long. What's
Huh?
that?
You could use that when you go camping.
Yeah.
Right. I could totally make toast all day long.
Yep.
I'm cooking now from scratch.
Making toast is going to be Daniel's camping jam.
Right. We're going to make toast today, boys and girls.
So were you done then?
Yes, I just wanted to say.
Not
go back and
you.
look
I'm
at that
talking to
book.
Daniel.
No, I'm going to keep interrupting everybody. So you go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead. Good. You're doing fine. You're not interrupting. All right, then Michelle, that leaves you.
All right. So we have a mixture of things, right? So we are lucky and we can grow year round. Part of my pantry is now outside.
Right.
So I'm going to start with those things. I bought green onions, and after we used them, I saved the bottoms and I replanted them. And I've been doing that for a long time. They're they're about a buck and a half a bundle. Okay.
Mhm.
So I just go out and harvest those every week when I need them. And they survived all the rain and the wind and everything else because I use wine barrels outside and I move them and shelter them. So it's very handy. We have Swiss chard all the time, growing all the time. And we can use that as lettuce. I just planted lettuce seeds. So the other things are free because they're just growing now. I have 2 different bags of lettuce seeds that I bought, 2 packets, I should say, and they cost me about $4. And I'll have lettuce until it's too hot to grow lettuce outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and again, my guilty pleasure is Kraft macaroni and cheese. I also had 15 boxes for $12. And there again, that's some calories for you if you need the calories. And so we have that I did put up in the pantry. Another thing that we really like are ranch style beans. So we tested a recipe for those, and I put up.
Did you ever locate a recipe you were happy with?
You know what? I made my own, and we're gonna actually. So we made them last weekend, and you know how you like to have things marry for a while.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm happy right now that a week, 10 days into it, I think we're gonna pop a jar open. I didn't have time today because we were outside planting some blueberries, but and those are not part of our pantry items because they cost too much money. Let's see. I'm sorry. Let me get back to this. Okay, so the mac and cheese, and we bought our biggest investment actually to this point has been a 10-pound box of small mushrooms.
Yes.
And we
Sorry.
canned. No, I love it. We were going to can plain mushrooms because we like canned mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And they are expensive, but we do use them and we like them. Well, before we ever got to the plain mushroom page in the USDA canning and preserving guide, we saw a recipe for marinated mushrooms. And we made those. We tweaked the spices a little bit because you can safely do that. And oh my gosh, you guys, they are crazy amazing. So that box of mushrooms, oh my God. And the peppers that we used instead of pimentos, because it calls for pimentos, we use some sort, I think they're called calabrani peppers. They're spicy, but a good spicy. And we also throw a little extra garlic in there because we are Big Valley living and we love garlic. But they turned out very well. We did them in half pints. So I've got I think we got 16 half pints of those. So
wow.
It's a lot. But the 10 pounds of mushrooms cost us $34. So that was a huge part of the investment.
Right.
But we've got things on our shelf now that we can pull down for any number of things. And we could use those mushrooms in a salad with the lettuce that we're growing, right? And if we don't have any other vegetables, that's still going to be a good salad.
Right.
So I'm trying to be purposeful with what we're doing. And then, of course, we're
Yes.
drying all of the fruits. We're dehydrating the fruits too and making some flavor powder, some citrus powders and stuff.
So that kind of goes into what I was saying earlier, each of us coming at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
You're coming at it from investment will be a long-term benefit later.
Yes.
Ginger, I know she's coming at it. She's taking off her land to suffice what she needs to. Daniel's looking at it, and I'm not trying to label you guys. That's
No,
not,
put me in a box, Tony.
I'm gonna hear right now. But he's coming
Nobody
at it
puts
from how
Daniel in
many.
a box.
I don't want to die of starvation, sir.
That's my point I was getting to. You're
Oh,
looking
you're
at the
not.
calorie
You're
intake
not.
to make sure you got enough meals to last you. I'm
Yeah.
coming in it from like 4 or 5 different directions where I can put it together. The whole point I'm trying to make in that is that none of us have the answer, because there is no the answer.
Mhm.
Everybody is going to have a different approach, a different situation, and a different makeup of how they can attain the same end result, which is all we're trying to help you guys with. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good ideas in chat too. This is really
there
good.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
There
one I
is,
liked
yeah.
the most, though, I have to say this was, now I gotta find it again. Joan Kelly's right there. That's
Thank you.
comment
Jen.
right there.
Aw. Thank you, Joe.
Thank
That's
you
very
very
sweet.
much. We appreciate that.
This is a really good and robust conversation. I got to say,
Yeah.
I really, really like the Sundays, and I like the
Yeah.
fact that you're going to change the Fridays to be more
Mhm.
like that, because this is always a much more lighthearted conversation
Right.
where we're encouraging each other and sharing
Mhm.
ideas. I'm very, very happy, and I got to say I'm very honored to be on this panel because
Okay.
Yes.
I
We're
get
glad
so
you're
many
here.
good ideas, and I get off of this chat, and I'm raring to go every Sunday
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It kind of gives you that oomph and that inspiration you need. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to go out and I'm going to write down what I'm going to do Friday night. I'm going to be so excited about it. So
I feel
I
that
can't
way
wait.
every single week. It's a great way to front load.
in your
I don't know
face,
if you're being
Daniel.
serious or not, Daniel.
That's the point.
I know.
That's the point.
I'm
Gray
with
Wolf
you.
Outdoors Homestead Skip came in. Thank you for coming in. And I also see Rebecca Touched by Yarn came in. I hope this helps some of you guys see where we're trying to direct this and what we've been working on to get where we're at. I think the whole goal of all those that are a part of it, and we don't have everybody here, and we don't always have everybody with us each of the nights.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
enough resources and information out there to where you got questions. If you don't get answers of the questions you have, whether it's through the chat on the live or through email or some other means, really it's your own fault. That's really what I'm coming down to, because there are enough
Mhm.
resources out there, and there is connection to mostly all of us one way or another, that you can get a question answered if we don't answer it right here, right now. So
Yeah. And if you email me and I don't know, I'm going to email him or her.
him, both him,
You know, I won't send you goose chasing. Yeah. I'll go and say, I'll be very upright. I'll be upright too. But
you'll
I'll
be upright.
very-
That's a good thing.
I'll be
What
very
was that
upright.
about Pice and Rasta that you said earlier?
Yeah, my Pison
That was
Rasta.
him.
Yes.
I usually mix my words up. It was him this time. But yeah,
You know what?
I'm not
I
afraid
can
to
move
say-
you any way I want to.
I'm not afraid to say I don't know, just like I did with, freezing the cranberries. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
I will dang sure find out, because the question you asked is going to educate me, because I don't
Yes.
know. So let's
Yep.
both find out.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
figure it out one way or another.
That's right.
Yep.
So
I
this
love
this
that.
is
That's a nice sized garden right there.
well, and then,
It
and
is
then you
solid.
see,
Yeah.
then
it
you
is.
see this guy from Two Doctors put up his. I mean, What I like is that, see,
Awesome.
this proves a point for me right here. And the conversation hasn't even happened yet, but I can see it happening.
Mhm.
Skip has a question about a large garden area. Daniel's going to be right there to answer. I know you guys have garden. Whoa, I did that wrong. I know you other two have gardens as well. My point I'm getting to, it's not just about cooking. It's not just about pantry. It's not just about this. There is I hate the word plethora, but there is a
Plethora.
of knowledge within
Cornucopia.
Cornucopia. Thank you. I like that better. I
that.
like that better than plethora.
Isn't that what stuff with fruit and put on the table at Thanksgiving?
Sure is.
That's a horn of
Sure
flavor.
is. It's tasty.
No, I use it to hear you better, Ginger.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the volume.
So this is what Rhonda says. It's all about sharing the knowledge and learning something new. That's part of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is kind of where I feel we are, minus the garden part of it. We don't mess around when it comes to ...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not trying to. We're not trying to put false information out there. We're not trying to make it look all fluffy and glamorous, because sometimes it isn't. Okay.
And sometimes you're going to fail when you try something.
That's right.
You know, the first time we tried fermenting cucumbers for dill pickles, it was a gigantic fail. And it's on our channel, it is horrendous. The second time we did it, we took the lessons that we learned, and that's the video I haven't edited and put out yet. But they were the most amazing pickles in the whole world.
Right.
You know, but our if we make a video and it's really crappy, we're still going to put it out to show you it's worth trying once in a while. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, learn from our mistakes. Don't even bother doing this yourself.
Well, and it's one of the beauties I liked about Ginger's bloopers, aside from the humorous blooper part of it. She's showing that they make mistakes. Not everything happened right the first time. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure you guys can jump on in with it. It doesn't usually happen just right the first time. It usually doesn't. My pressure canner, I've had my pressure canner for over a year. This is what I did with the turkey broth was the 7th or 8th time I pressure canned. This is only the 3rd successful time I've had it. Okay. The other 4 were fails.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just work instantly the first time. Sometimes you have to work at it. I'm happy Ginger and Joey were there to help me with it. And I'm happy for those that helped me along the way. It just wasn't the right way. Okay.
Yeah.
But now I know it, and I was chomping at the bit to pressure can more stuff yesterday. So
now I can't stop. He's addicted.
Now I can't stop.
Canning.
Yeah. It's so much
But
my whole goal though, my whole goal really about the pressure canning part was I wanted to do vegetables. I wanted to try the broth. Next is going to be proteins to make sure I can do it. Once I can do it, I'm okay with it. I don't care what the rest of it involves.
You did carrots, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. I have never bought a canned carrot in my life. Okay.
Okay.
However, we canned carrots when we first were doing pressure canning. It was inexpensive. And if it failed, we lost 10 or 15 bucks, right?
Right.
Those are one of the best things to have on a shelf. Oh my God, I love canned carrots.
Me and Ginger had that talk after I got done with them, and she doesn't like them. I said, you know what? I tasted it afterwards. And for her, it's a taste thing. I get that. Okay. For me, it was perfect because it'll go great in the soups. It'll go great in this. It'll go great in that. So it wasn't a matter of, will I pop it open and just eat carrots out of the jar? No, it wasn't.
Right.
But I can utilize it for something somewhere, and it lessens the cost I'm putting out somewhere down the road. That's the benefit I have.
Yeah.
So, now, some people will eat right out of the jar, and they love it.
Yeah, I put it out one time as a side dish, and my extended family wanted to try them. And they actually, I was so surprised that they were gone.
Right.
I thought it was going to be one of those, it's crazy show doing something, canning food now.
I'm not the only one. Seeing Ashley said she's with me. She didn't like them out of a can, I guess, either. And I mean, Tony said he has, and here we go again, sharing the knowledge.
Yeah.
He has a candy.
Carrot bread. Sorry. Carrot bread, Dead Sea.
Ooh, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's what.
But go ahead.
Tony's gonna share his recipe of candied carrots. I'm gonna try it that way, so that way the carrots that I have on the shelf are not a waste. I would rather have frozen as far as carrots or fresh, one or the other.
I like
but I mean,
carrots
in
too.
a pinch, if I need carrots, I'm gonna pop open one of those jars. So let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest with you, it's not like.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Using brown sugar in those, because that we've always just cooked them down on the stove for one meal.
Yeah.
I really want to try that, so I can't wait.
So all we do is we stick like a half stick of butter and then a half cup of brown sugar, depending on how much you have in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically just glazing the carrots is what you're doing.
Oh, okay. So you're going to use your plate. You're not canning them that way. You're going to
No.
Carrots. That's what I was wondering. Okay, because that's what we do. We just pull them out and we glaze them exactly the same way. Okay.
I'm more of an ingredient kind of person.
Yeah, we are too.
So
the ranch beans were a big thing for us.
But that's not to say I'm not going to try meals in a jar as long as I can find a recipe that is tested and I'm okay with. I don't have a problem trying it. It's just not my jam. I would rather pull a jar and mix it together and call it good.
Yeah.
Knowing what those things are, and then I can spice it the way I want to. But it doesn't mean doing it that way is wrong. That's just not me. So
there's a lot of good conversation in here.
Yes, there is. Yeah. So
yes, there is.
Unfortunately, that being said, I do want to say this.
Don't forget to hit the thumbs up.
I got you covered, Daniel. We're at an hour and 6 minutes. This is typically our 1 hour show, so I do want to wind it down. If anybody does have any more questions or comments, please send them to any of us. If it's something you want us to talk about or suggestions in what we've talked about, let us know. We don't have a problem talking about them, but we don't know them if we don't get them. So that's the biggest thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to thank everybody in chat for coming in. Anybody that helped mod, I appreciate you guys 100%. And you guys, this couldn't have happened without you. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. We're back again next week. We'll be here and we will be
square.
We'll figure it out.
What'd you say?
All right,
Daniel?
guys.
Square. We'll be here and we'll be square.
Yep. We'll be here and we'll be square. All right, guys. Have a great week. Be good.
God bless.
We'll see you later.